Now, most breastfed babies tend to have very nice skin. They tend to have less infections than formula-fed babies. And that's because there's antibodies called immunoglobulin A that helps the babies to prevent babies from having diarrhea, vomiting. A lot of breastfed babies don't end up with vomiting and diarrhea for at least the first year of life, especially if they're breastfed all through. All right, today we're going to be talking about breastfeeding in newborns, and Francisca and I are here to discuss that.
Of course. Thank you.
So breastfeeding in newborns, why is it important for a mom to breastfeed? It's breast milk actually is something that we recommend. Breastfeeding is something we recommend, especially for the first 6 months of life. And the reason is breastfed babies tend to do much better with everything. Now, breast milk, when you think about it, it comes naturally from the breast of moms. Once a mom has put to bed, the hormones in the body, in the mom, makes it such that the breast start to produce milk. And there's something called colostrum, which is the richest part of the breast milk. And that comes when the mom's breast milk is just coming in. That is rich, is full of antibodies to help the baby fight infections. It's full of nutrient-rich food for the baby. And we usually like moms to breastfeed first because of that. Breastfeeding is kind of like a positive feedback mechanism. So the more a baby breastfeeds, the more the milk is produced. A lot of moms complain, oh, my baby is not breastfeeding well because I'm not producing any milk. But guess what? The more the baby learns how to breastfeed and the more the baby is put on the breast to breastfeed, the more the milk comes, because it's kind of like a positive feedback mechanism. If you're not breastfeeding your baby, your milk is not going to come in. And that's why a lot of hospitals say, oh, don't give any formula feeding in the first 2 to 3 days of life. Let the mom keep breastfeeding so that the baby can get enough breast milk. Now, some moms, their breast milk doesn't come in until about 4 days after. So the babies are trying their best to feed, but there's no milk. And if the baby is not passing urine at least 3 to 4 times in the first or second day, that means the babies could get dehydrated. So sometimes we do recommend moms might want to pump to stimulate breastfeeding, and so the baby can also go on the breast. But sometimes if that's not happening, we supplement with formula until mom's milk comes in. And when mom's milk comes in, most moms will tell you yes, because once the baby cries, the breast milk will be dripping. And that's one way to know that, okay, it's called the milk let down reflex. That reflex has come and the baby is helping mom so that there's enough milk for the baby. Now, most breastfed babies tend to have very nice skin. They tend to have less infections than formula-fed babies. And that's because there's antibodies called immunoglobulin A that helps the babies to prevent babies from having diarrhea, vomiting. A lot of breastfed babies don't end up with vomiting and diarrhea for at least the first year of life, especially if they're breastfed all through. And then breastfed babies don't get as sick as formula-fed babies. Breastfeeding also makes your baby's IQ much higher than normal. So there's everything to love about breastfeeding. A lot of women say, oh, if I breastfeed, my breast will become flat and I won't have any. So that's why they end up not breastfeeding. Guess what? I've seen a lot of moms who never breastfed and they have flat breasts. And I've seen a lot of moms who have breastfed and their breasts are not flat. So that could have a lot to do with genetics. Some parents say, oh, no, I'm only going to breastfeed, which is great. But while you're breastfeeding, we always recommend that moms should take their vitamins, prenatal vitamins, because if you don't take enough vitamins, your baby will take your vitamins and you end up with cavities in your teeth, and they will take your bones. Basically, you'll be producing, the baby will take calcium from your body to make up for the baby's calcium. So babies need the calcium and vitamin D, but moms, you need it too. So we usually recommend take your prenatal vitamins until you're at least 50 years old, that you know you're not having any more children. Parents laugh and they're like, that's too long. I said, well, it doesn't hurt to have extra vitamins. If your body doesn't need you, pass it in the stool or in the urine or whichever way you're passing it in. So breastfeeding generally is recommended. If you can breastfeed your child exclusively for the first 4 to 6 months of your baby's life, we're not going to see you in the hospital, apart from for vaccines and immunizations and a lot of things that happen with non-breastfed babies. You won't see it just because your baby already has a higher level of immunity just from breastfeeding. And then when you think about it, breast milk It comes at the right temperature. It comes at the right, the sugar level is fine. The protein, which is the casein and whey ratio of breastfed babies, is usually perfect. And breastfed babies have more whey protein than casein. Formula-fed babies have more casein than whey. Whey is actually a water-soluble protein that helps breast milk get absorbed very easily and very, very well. The calcium in breast milk is less than the calcium in cow's milk, but it's better absorbed just because it's breast milk. And breast milk is the best food that you can give your baby first 4 to 6 months of life. And then by the time you start weaning into other foods, your baby already has a solid foundation of health just from being breastfed.
Oh, wow. Thank you very much, Dr. Sanusi. And that brings us to the end of breastfeeding in children. So until next time on Pediatrics to Go. Bye.
Bye.